Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Prediction Show. This is what we're playing for tonight, the Carabao Cup. We've got 8 fixtures, some very, very tasty ones indeed. Without further ado, let's get into it. Yes, welcome back, and if you're new here, what we're going to do is take a look at every fixture. We'll go through some of the key insights and data from their seasons so far, and then we will put together our own selections on Bet365 using some of the data that we've come across, of course. Some of these games, the odds are absolutely ridiculous. For example, Fulham 1.15 to beat Cambridge. It's not worth it really, is it, if it ruins your selections? So we'll start with Wrexham against Reading. Wrexham against Wedding, I almost said there. And remember, we are going to do man versus machine at the end of the video as well, so stay tuned for that. Wrexham have a higher total goals average across the last 6 games than any other team in the Carabao Cup. 4.17 goals per game on average. We've got a 2-3, 3-1, 2-0, 2-3, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3 and 2-1 again. So BTTS landing in most games, over 2.5 goals landing in most games, which is good if you like those markets. But this is a big game for them. They had a massive win at the weekend away from home, and most of their good performances have come away from home. If we look at their home form, they are winless this season. A couple of draws and a couple of defeats. BTTS landing in every game, over 2.5 goals landing in every game as well. So improvement is needed because it played Hull, West Brom fair enough, Sheffield Wednesday and QPR. If they want to be a playoff pushing side that spent £30 million, they should be doing a little bit better than that, certainly defensively. And they are facing a Reading side, and again, if you like goals, you're probably going to like this game because Reading have scored in the last 9 games across all competitions. They've also scored in every away game played this season since the opening day. Their last and only away win this season was in the previous round against Portsmouth, so they have knocked out Championship opposition already. So this is not going to be an easy game for Wrexham by any means. And finally, just on Reading, as I continue to look at their data, they have scored 2 or more goals in 5 of the last 6 games. So they are in good goal-scoring form as well. Nothing to lose here going away to Wrexham. And Wrexham, they would love a cup run, wouldn't they? Their owners would absolutely milk it if they got a big Premier League team away in the next round. Now on to Fulham against Cambridge. And look, Fulham are very, very heavy favourites, 1.23 peak odds for them to beat Cambridge after 90 minutes. Cambridge have been doing okay, but again, League 2 opposition against Premier League opposition. Fulham and Marco Silva, they're not the kind of team to let a game like this slip. Marco Silva has taken these competitions seriously since around 2022 when they had a bit of an upset in the competition. I would expect them to put a strong team out. Kevin, their record signing, is expected to start from the off in this game, make his full debut, so for him to score or assist might be a bit of a sensible selection here in a game where there might not be too much value on offer. Next up, Wolves against Everton, and 2 teams that would love a cup run for Wolves. They've lost the last 3 games. That Leeds game, they took the lead, didn't they? They've lost 5 out of the last 6 games now. The only victory coming in the Carabao Cup where they were at home, again to Premier League opposition. This is a very, very tough game to call. And if this run continues, well, they've already publicly backed the manager with a new contract. And there is no doubt that he showed what he can do when he came into the club. We can see the back end of that run there towards the end of last season. Strand Larsen is expected to play this game. He was on the bench at the weekend, and what a boost that is for Wolves. Now, Wigan hosting Wycombe, the W's, and I want to just show you the home form of Wigan. They have lost just once at home this season, and that defeat came in the EFL Trophy, which, let's be real, nobody really cares about. If you watch the highlights for this, there's not even any fans there. It's the same when my team Blackpool plays. There's nobody here for this trophy. Nobody cares. It's a shame, but they need to do something with it, don't they? They need to rebrand it. Anyway, my point is, their only defeat at home has come in a competition with heavy rotation and lack of incentive to do well. Now, across League One and the Carabao Cup at home, they have conceded just 2 goals. They knocked out fellow League One team Stockport County, who are a pretty good team in League One, so that was a good result for them. And now they go away, they host Wycombe, another League One team. So this is a good chance for Wigan to progress in the competition, and I think they will. And after a poor start, Wycombe have won 2 of the last 3 games, but for me, I'm always going to back, or favour at least, a strong defence at home, and that is exactly what we have with Wigan Athletic. Barnsley against Brighton, or should we say Brighton's B team, which was the case in their previous Carabao Cup game, which they won 6-0 against Championship opposition, and tonight they are away at League One's Barnsley, who comes into this having lost at Blackpool. But as you can see before that, 3 wins in a row, plenty of goals scored, but plenty of goals conceded as well. I doubt they keep a clean sheet tonight. And it's safe to say that the bookmakers are backing Brighton B with Milner and Gruder, etc. expected to start. 1.3 is the peak at the moment. Now, just jumping back to Barnsley's form, because they are the owner of a very fine home record. No defeats this season and BTTS in every single game played. And they've played some tricky games as well, to be honest. Reading, Huddersfield, Rotherham, Bolton and Fleetwood in the Cup, and then Burton Albion as well. So unbeaten with 3 wins and 2 draws. They'll fancy their chances of laying a glove on this Brighton team, especially given the expected rotation. And you don't necessarily have to back Barnsley to progress, of course, but can they score a goal? 1.98 for BTTS is appealing. Burnley against Cardiff now, and this one could be a pretty tight encounter. 2 teams that love to defend and can do so very well. For Cardiff City, they come into this having been beaten at the weekend by the surprise package of League One, Bradford City, doing absolutely superb on their return to that league. But before that, 6 clean sheets in 7 games for Cardiff. I think if there is going to be an upset in the Carabao Cup, I think it will come here with Cardiff City. So maybe Cardiff City to win or draw this game. If we look at the odds on offer, the bookies are backing Burnley 1.6, but Burnley may rotate as they did in the previous round. One interesting statistic when you look at all teams in the Carabao Cup is that no team has faced more shots across the last 6 games than Burnley, and of course a bit of context is needed because they've played Liverpool, they played Manchester United, and they played Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest, of course. 103 is the number, by the way. That's the number of shots across the last 6 games. Chelsea were involved in a crazy game at Old Trafford at the weekend, and now they are away to Lincoln City, who have been doing very, very well, as you can see, in League One. They have not lost a game since the 9th of August, since the 2nd game of the season. They are on some run in League One. And Chelsea come into this with 2 defeats on the bounce, but a bit of context is needed, of course, because those defeats have come to Bayern Munich, fair enough, and Manchester United, where they had their keeper sent off after 5 minutes, and I think Enzo Maresca, the coach, kind of ruined the game for his side with those substitutions. Fair enough, Cole Palmer has to go off, but at least replace him with somebody that is as creative or is going to play in that position. They just tried to kill the game before Man United had even scored their first goal. 1.23 is the peak you're going to get. And just on Lincoln City as well, can they lay a glove on Chelsea? No team in the Carabao Cup has had more shots on target than Lincoln across the last 6 games, 33 in total. Can they have a couple or more against this Chelsea side tonight? And finally, Southampton away at Liverpool. Is still the Southampton manager, but for how long he's under early pressure. And this is not the game you want when your fans and your board are demanding that you improve your championship standing. If they can just get this game out of the way and focus on the championship, I think that is what will prefer. But they have to go away to Liverpool, they have to put in a performance, but they have not been in any kind of form at the start of the season. Now, an interesting stat about both of these teams is the timing data. Both of these teams have conceded 6 second half goals in the last 6 games, and they, along with Wrexham, are the worst for that stat in the Carabao Cup. All teams in the Carabao Cup, 6 second half goals conceded. No team has conceded more. So Liverpool, Southampton and Wrexham, second half goals could be an option. Now let's jump to Bet365 and show you what I've put together. We'll trim the fat and then we'll do man versus machine. So here's what I've got so far. We're going to trim the fat off this and maybe make a double or a treble. And by the way, all of the data that I had, I did my research on the Football Form Guide page. You can find the link in the description to check that out. Draw or Cardiff, I said that if there is an upset, I do believe it'll come in this game. I think Cardiff have got the ability to get a draw, depending on the team Burnley and Scott Parker put out. Wrexham against Reading, 1.75 for BTTS. I think is still quite generous, given that Reading have scored in the last 9 games, and Wrexham, I think BTTS and over 2.5 goals has landed in pretty much every game bar one this season. They're conceding for fun at home, so big improvements are needed, of course. Wigan to qualify, 1.7. Their defence is very good, their home form is very good. Wycombe, yes, they've won 2 out of 3 games after a poor start, but those games were not against the top end teams in League One. So again, I think for them to qualify, remember you can have a draw and penalties. That's a nice little bit of a safety net, I think, because Wigan are certainly, in my mind, the better team there, especially playing at home. And then Barnsley, Brighton, BTTS. Barnsley have been in okay form, apart from that recent 1-0 defeat away to Blackpool. But at home, they are a different team. The data showed that. So what would you remove from this? What are you on tonight? Get your predictions in the comments, of course. I have announced the winner of the previous OddAlerts Pro competition. Check your YouTube notifications because I replied to the winning comment. Now then, I'm going to take off the draw or Cardiff, and we're going to be left with a treble at 5.8, which I actually do quite like still. So this is the treble I'm going to go with. 5.8 are the odds. Now then, let's jump to the bet slip generator to do man versus machine. 5.8 is going to be our target odds. So this is the bet slip generator. If you've not used this before, it leverages our probability model and generates bet slips for you based on your settings. I've set it up already just to make the video a little bit quicker for you. Target odds of 5.8. We've got 3 slips per item, 3 items per slip, so a treble. And then the odds here from 1 to 1.95 per item. Next 72 hours, sorting by probability. We are not excluding cup games so that we can potentially get some Carabao Cup games in there if it deems them ready and fit for purpose. And here are our settings as well. So I've enabled BTTS, over 1.5 goals, over 2.5 goals. Let's see what we get when we hit get. And then we do get a selection straight away, 12% value, 5.93. We've got Croatian Cup, Egyptian Premier League, La Liga as well. Girona to score a goal. They've been in pretty poor form at the moment. 1.8 for them to score a single goal away from home. As we scroll down here, 5.42, 5.93. Remember, it's sorted by probability, so we are getting some value here. 9% value again. 7% value. We do get a Carabao Cup game here, 1.75. BTTS Wrexham against Reading. We won't use that because we've already got that one on. Our odds were 5.8, weren't they? So we'll try and get one that's close to that. We've got 6s here. You can always scroll back up as well and hit run again, and it'll go away, get you some different games. You can keep clicking it until you're satisfied with one that you like. And here we have a treble with games from the Coppa Italia, the under-23s in Portugal, and Brazilian Serie B. So an away goal here for Botafogo, over 2.5 goals, and Spezia to score away in the Coppa Italia. Let me know what you think about this one. This will be the one that goes up against ours. So man versus machine. Let's see who wins, and get your predictions in. If you want to use this tool, it will also be in the comments and the description. Hope you've enjoyed this one, Carabao Cup special. See you in the next one.